Good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, everyone. And thank you for joining in today from different time zones and from various parts of the world. It is my absolute privilege to welcome you all to our very first mentorship and awareness dialogue of 2026, hosted by Women Ascension. I am Ms. Kanvi, a postgraduate in microbiology honors from Punjab Agriculture University, Ludhiana, Punjab, India. I'm also an active member and country representative for India and assistant head of 1 Million Leadership Fellowship Program of Women Ascension. It is my privilege to be moderating today's session entitled "When Climate Crisis Meet Girlhood: Menstrual Health in Drought-Affected Areas." We are privileged to have this session in collaboration with My Body, a women's right organization dedicated to advancing the health, rights, dignity, and empowerment of women and girls. For the new joiners, I would like to brief you about Women Ascension, a global initiative. Women Ascension is a purpose driven platform committed to advancing women's leadership, empowerment, and inclusive development across sectors and communities. The organization creates spaces for learning, dialogue, and collaboration that support women to rise as leaders, change makers, and decision makers in their personal, professional, and social spheres, with now making an impact in 134 countries. Grounded in the values of equity, dignity, and intersectionality, Women Ascension works to amplify women's voice and strengthen their capacity to influence systems, policies, and practices. Through curated conversations, partnerships, mentorships, and knowledge serving initiative, this organization bridges grassroots realities with global perspective. Women Ascension actively collaborates with civil society organizations, advocates, professionals, and community leaders to address critical issues such as gender equality, women's rights, health and well-being, leadership development, and social justice. Its work empowers and recognizes the sustainable progress which is achieved when a woman is not only included but empowered to lead. By fostering meaningful partnership and centralizing lived experience, Women Ascension continues to build pathways for women to ascend, thrive, and drive transformative change locally and globally. As we begin today's dialogue, I would like to take a moment to introduce one of our key collaborators, My Body, and Organization, which is a dynamic women's rights organization based in Kenya, committed to advancing the health, rights, and empowerment of women and girls. Grounded in the principle of inclusivity, this organization works across three core themic areas: sexual and reproductive health and rights, gender equality, intersectional advocacy. Their work is especially impacted in countries and urban informal settlements where climate vulnerability, poverty, and gender based violence converge. Through research, education, and community led initiatives, this organization addresses the unique challenges faced by adolescent girls, ensuring that menstrual health, bodily autonomy, and dignity are not sidelined in climate response. Led by Ms. Brenda, a recognized SRHR expert and gender equality changemaker, the organization brings a bold yet compassionate approach to transform change. From gamified SRHR education to youth centered funding models, this innovative comes continues to shape inclusive policies and empower communities. We are grateful for this partnership in this session and for the grounded insights they bring to this critical conversation. This conversation is rooted in the lived realities of adolescent girls in Kenya, regions where climate induced droughts deeply affect access to water, sanitation, and menstrual dignity. In this context, menstruation becomes more than a biological process. It becomes a daily challenge shaped by environmental, social, and systematic barriers. Today, we have gathered here to reflect on how climate crises uniquely shape girlhood and why menstrual health, must be recognized not only as a health issue, but as education, equity, and climate justice. We will hear grounded insights, shared professional reflections, and build collective understanding across sectors of education, SRHR, humanitarian response, and gender advocacy. This session is not about offering quick solutions, it's about listening deeply, honoring lived experiences, and surfacing our conversation that is often too neglected or silenced. Now, without further ado, I would like to introduce our distinguished speaker today, Ms. Blanda, who is also a mentor at Women Ascension since October 2025. Ms. Blanda is a passionate gender and development professional and a recognized gender equality and equity changemaker in Africa. Her work spans across sexual and reproductive health and rights, climate resilience, and youth empowerment, with a strong focus on addressing the unique challenges faced by the adolescent girls and young women in Kenya and urban informal settlements. She's a founder and team lead of My Body, a dynamic organization which works towards a woman's right in advancing health, rights, dignity of women and girls, grounded in inclusivity. This organization operates in three specific areas, ensuring the menstrual health, bodily autonomy, and dignity, which are not sidelined by climate response. Ms. Blanda's leadership is marked by an innovation and compassion. She's currently the into the she's one of the gamified SHRS manual, reimaging how sexual and reproductive health education is delivered to adolescent and young people. She also serves as a senior youth panelist with the Global Youth Mobilization Initiative, campaigning youth-centered funding and solutions aligned with SDG 5, that is gender equality, and SDG 13, that is climate action. Her advocacy extends to eliminating gender based violence, safeguarding the rights of vulnerability girls, including those with disabilities, and promoting safer sexual health practices to reduce HIV transmission amongst young women. Through public speaking, healthcare consulting, and project leading, Ms. Blanda continues to inspire transformative change and build strategic partnership that amplifies community voice. Ms. Blenda's work reminds us that menstrual health, climate justice, and education are not separate struggles. They are deeply interconnected. Her voice today brings grounded insights, lived realities, and a vision for collective responsibility. Please join me in warmly welcoming Ms. Blenda. Ma'am, the stage is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Kanvi, I hope I pronounced your name well.
Yes,
Thank you
ma'am.
for the wonderful introduction. Thank you for the warm welcome. And I believe I'm the first person to be speaking in our Women Ascension mentorship session. I'm so glad to our team lead, Dr. Mahin, and her wonderful personal assistant, I can't
Miss
pronounce the other
Miss
name, but
Tahmina. Miss Tahmina.
Miss Tamina. Thank you very much. So as my name has been mentioned over and over again, the wonderful introduction that I've received, I've been listening to Kanvi and I'm like, is this me? Indeed, that is me. And I've worked to be where I am as a young woman from Africa, where we were so much unprivileged back then, but with the education, with zeal and resilience, we have been able to put our names and ourselves out here, learning from the wonderful women who were there before and were fighting for us to be where we are today. And I'm glad to be leading the session on when climate crisis meets girlhood. The topic on menstrual health management is one of my very passionate areas that I've been able to engage women girls, men, and boys in our country here, and also globally, because I speak beyond my country. My advocacy is out there, and everyone from all over the world is able to see the information I share, because I'm very broad on social media. I post every day. The little information I get, I always post for everyone to benefit from the knowledge that I have. And today I'm very proud because we are partnering with Women Ascension together with My Body, which is an organization that is women-led, youth-led, and we basically advocate for inclusive and comprehensive sexual reproductive health and rights. Despite the funding crisis, we are not giving up. We are still out there. We are still shouting. We are still supporting the girls, the women, men, and boys who feel like they can benefit from our knowledge and the little that we have. And so currently here in Kenya, the northern part of our country, which is always arid and semi-arid, and the vast land, we are experiencing drought, which I believe all of you know what drought is, or we have been able to experience. You have seen even sisters, brothers from other countries going through the same. And not just drought, we might have famine. We might have a lot of rain that will have families, people's properties being washed away, and so many other calamities, like even fights. We have seen Palestine, Syria, where there's a lot of movement and people being killed. And we all know the most affected are women, girls, and children, just because we do not have the energy to move around and even to fight. But our current situation in Kenya that I'll be speaking about, since I'm here in Kenya and we work in the northern part of our country, where currently we are experiencing drought, and most of our beneficiaries have been able to reach out because they don't derail whenever they face anything that regards their sexual reproductive health. Like currently, most of them do not have menstrual commodities, that is water. There is no clean water for them to wash themselves when they're experiencing their menses. They do not have sanitary pads, and if they have the reusable ones, which they are not able to wash them on time. It is so crazy. And so our topic today, I must say that we are not just talking about climate change. We are talking about girlhood under climate pressure. Sorry to say that I'm not going to be biased that we are going to speak about the girl child only, but I know it affects everybody, our brothers, our fathers, because if I lack a pad, if I lack the information and we are in this crisis, remember the whole family might, we have some cultures here in our country where there's so much child marriage. I might be married off as your daughter whom you have taken me to school. And at the end of my schooling, you expect me to get a job to support the family, to get them from the poverty. But the family will have no option but to sell me off, to marry me off, because they cannot afford some family basic needs. That is the current situation. And so I must say that when we talk about climate crisis as a gendered issue, it's not gender neutral because it affects us differently. I'm going to speak about how it affects us women and girls, because myself I am. And for men, I believe you are going to share your experiences, what you experienced during such crisis via the chat box. If you come across our conversation, because I believe we are being live streamed on YouTube and it's going to remain here for the longest time. If you find this conversation, Please comment from wherever you are joining from, because I know we have so many male champions who support us women. And we are so much grateful, because this movement, it's not going to be successful without everybody. And it's not a fight that we are fighting new men by us talking about girls' issues and women's issue. We are talking about it. Personally, I'm talking about it because I am a first-hand experienced person who have visited the girls and the women in these areas, and I've seen the trauma they go through. As a woman, we all know when we are going through our periods, we always have period cramps. You can imagine you're having cramps, you don't know what you're going to eat. The next meal, you don't know when you'll have it. You don't know when you'll get water because there's scarcity of water. You have to travel far away to get water. You can imagine walking 100 kilometers from your homestead to go to fetch water. Will you even come back? You're supposed to eat healthy. There's no fruits. You have to, it is so sad, whatever our girls and women are going through. Let's put ourselves in their shoes and remember that girl, that woman who needs you at such a moment when they are trying to call out for help. They don't know who is going to help them. They are trying to call out names. They might not reach out to the people who are supposed to help them because they do not have internet. They do not have phones to make calls to us. They do not have access to money, or if they have the money, where are they going to buy the products from? Because they are found so far away. And as I've mentioned about the water scarcity, when there is drought, no plantation, no traces of water, everything is like the land is vast, nothing is growing on. No human being, you cannot see human beings outside, but you can see our great-grandfathers who are dying and you cannot help them. Women women trying to go out to fetch food, or the little food they can get for their children to have something for that day. You can imagine how long it will take. We don't know how long the drought is going to take, but I believe that there is going to be help that these sisters, brothers are going to get from the government, well wishers, and initiatives like ours, like an organization. Currently, we are running a campaign where we are trying to mobilize for sanitary towels, menstrual commodities, that is water. If we can get water boozers to go to those areas and support the girls and women, we'll really appreciate, and we'll be saving a life, and we'll be dignifying the life of the girls and women. Another thing that I must emphasize on climate crisis, it may be environmental, but its impact is deeply social, and girls pay the price first. By girls, I include women and girls. As I mentioned earlier on, there are so many social issues that surrounds our community where we work in the northern parts. If the drought is on, how are you going to go to school? The girls, we see that the school retention reduces. If you're coming from far, because these girls walk a long distances to get to schools, they're not able to get to schools because how are they going to study? There's no water, they have not showered. It is so hot, like everything is just silent in their regions. And I believe all of us can relate that if we are also in such regions, but we have some regions which are desert-like, but your social amenities are accessible. You have nice roads, you already have the cars, but here the roads are bad, poor roads. Schools are not, the schools not well built, like where they can have roof on top of them. No, they only have leaves that is covering them, and you can imagine under this sun scorched. where they are being banned. How can you learn in such condition? And you see, that is where we lose most of our girls. They prefer going to get married. If I'm married, then I'll go far away from such incidents that I'm facing. And remember, they don't get married far from their land, still the same places, but they get married to older people who have big lands, who have resources in terms of the animals, because most of them are pastoralists. This child is still young. They have to go through their rites of passage, which is female genital mutilation. Thank you, Masal, for also sharing. In Afghanistan, the same thing is happening. And just to continue, some of the cultural practices that are being practiced, and I must say they are harmful to the girls. You have to be circumcised to get married. And this is the season because nothing is going on in their land. So a lot of girls are going to be circumcised because they are idle. They are home being married off. The girls who will not even be able to access sexual reproductive health and rights information, that is, when you start your periods, what do you do? What do you use? When you, they don't even know their safe days. Some are privileged. We are so sorry for that, Mariam, and I believe you. You take your time to share with the girls and the women, because holding them at such moment is the best thing you could ever do. Sharing information and also rescuing some of them. I know such areas, it's so hard for us to get there. We need a lot of resources to get there. But I believe as we hold each other's hand through Women Ascension, we are going to support many girls, many women, and also men and boys, because they are not leaving anyone behind. As I was saying, what some of the social issues that happens there, we see that also in terms of access to the contraceptions, some of their cultures and also religion does not allow them to use contraceptions. And you'll find a girl who is 13 years or 12 years already having more than 3 kids. They are malnourished. No one teaches them how to take care of these kids because they are still young. So it's so sad that we have a lot of, when it also comes to, how do I call this? Mortality rates. Even in our hospitals, they are not able to count how many kids are born at home or even in the hospital. So we lose a lot of them at home because of the stillbirth and also some of the girls dying because they had no one to take care of them. They lost a lot of blood during that. And also we have diseases such as fistula. We have diseases such as fistula, which most of the women who have undergone FGM, the female genital mutilation, they suffer from that. You can imagine being excluded from social gatherings because you are smelling. When you go to hospital to give birth, I believe most of us have encountered such, and it's so sad that most of the girls, women go through this. And I don't know until when, because we already know what they are going through. What are we going to do about it? The state and the non-state actors, every day we are on boardrooms, developing policies, developing strategies, frameworks on how to support the marginalized communities. But what have we done? So far, so good. If we are being asked, or we are being asked to account for what we have been done, the donor funding that have been there for the longest time, supporting projects that are centered on women and girls. But we are grateful for what has been done. Also, on girls missing schools because of menstruation. That is highly recorded here in our country, in Kenya. And it's the same to so many others, because girls, a woman is a woman, no matter where you are. Pakistan, Dubai, Qatar, anywhere, Zimbabwe, Afghanistan, Palestine, even here in Kenya, Uganda, Tanzania, we are all facing the same issues. If you lack the menstrual commodities, you're not going to school. Well, how are you going to school if you have soiled your clothes? Then we also have issues of sharing of the menstrual commodities, because I must say that we as women, we are good, we are kind-hearted, and you cannot see your sister suffering and you have something that can help your sister. I beg to change to my phone, because my laptop is going off, so that you might not lose me in a minute. We do not have lights currently, but I'm joining using my phone. Will pardon me a minute. Kanvi, you can support by reading the comment section as I join using my phone. Thank you.
Sure, ma'am. There's a one candidate, she's sharing, like in Zimbabwe, they don't use contraceptive. And Miss Mursal is telling that she has seen a lot of things in Afghanistan, and another candidate is telling that these things are very much common in Afghanistan as well.
Thank you. Okay, I'm back. And you can, all participants, please share where you are coming from, and if the same issues resonate from what you are having in your countries. I believe we can have a common solution at the end of the day, because we know the issues and we know what to be done in order for us to enable women and girls to survive during a drought crisis. Today we are talking about drought, because that is the current issue that we are facing here in Kenya. And I believe we also have some other crises that we are facing in our various countries. So you can share in the comment section, so that we all are in the same page. Thank you. So I will continue. As I was saying, in many drought responses, food is life-saving, but menstrual products are dignity-saving. Currently, we will see organizations such as Kenya Red Cross, who have been very supportive in terms of supporting the areas that are affected with drought or crisis. They are always swift to support. They will be distributing food and even other institutions, but forgetting menstrual products to dignify and save the lives of women and girls, because that is not always their first concern. They want to rescue them by giving them water and food for them to have some days before they get more others from well-wishers and also from the government and other institutions that support during such crisis. But when it comes to menstrual products, it's always the last thing to be done. And that's why we are calling upon everyone today. We are doing the humanitarian work and you are doing your budget. Please set budget aside to support girls and women during their menses. Because for us, menstruation
means a lot to us as women. Menstruation, it's what makes us women. And to also add on that, education, dignity, and protection risk. As I was saying, in terms of school retention, we see that currently there's reduction of girls in school. Not only girls, but boys too. There's no way they are going to learn, and the environment is so harsh for them. And we can even tell, even after the drought, how many will go back to school. Is there a plan to retain the students even after the drought? But we are glad to our government that we have a department, NDMA, National Drought Management Authority, that has really put everything in order. And we see that there are some students who always are retained in school, but the number is little because most of them are always married off, as I said before. A lot of things happen in between before they go back to school. And so I still emphasize, menstrual dignity is not a soft issue. It directly affects education, protection, and a girl's future. Just to also mention about the gaps in current responses. I mention it and I'm repeating it again because repeating is better than not me mentioning it or mentioning it once only. I love repeating myself because we are human beings and we know these things are supposed to be done. But we always blame on budgeting. It was not planned for, but we have contingency plan. What if it happens? Do we have some funds that were not utilized? Because here in Kenya, we have counties and the different departments. For example, we have emergency funds. Can the emergency funds support when a crisis such as drought emerges? And if the drought did not happen, what did they use the funds for? Which is some of the things that when it comes to accountability is what we lack in most of our governments. But I believe that government should put measures just to enable citizens to enjoy even during crisis. Because we believe if you are paying taxes, it needs to support you when you need the government support. So I will repeat again the gaps. The menstrual health treated as an afterthought. I mentioned that. It is always food, clothing, bedding, and where they are being rescued to, taken to schools or camps. But menstrual health is an afterthought. They don't care about where, even in the camps, where girls and women go to the washroom. Are the washroom clean? But they're always told, if you have somewhere just to release yourself, that is okay. There is no clean water for them to even go to the washroom. Some go to open airs. We see that most of them are affected by the UTIs and even STDs in such areas. I'm not saying in the setup of camps. And I know some of us have seen that, some of us have experienced that, and it's not a nice experience. Then as another gap is climate, education, and SRHR sectors working in silos. This is a gap that we have so many non-state actors. The state actors, which we are supposed to work together, but we work in silos. This one doing that one, not telling each other what you are doing, so that when you are going to support a certain region, there is no repetition. Rather, you can address some other needs. But we are working in silos. I don't know if it's competition, but we are still helping the same people. But I feel we need to have a strategy where, and also mapping the partners who are in different areas so that we see if you are supporting in this, let's say you are supporting the food sector, we are supporting bedding, health, who is going to support the menstrual side, because menstrual is not health, how we put it. Just because we are saying it's health, they are coming to immunize, they are coming to check if they are eating well, but do you check if the women have the menstrual products, or you want them to get pregnant even in those camps that you have rescued them to? We know very well that during such crisis, security is not always guaranteed. Anyone can do anything, and we have heard of so many gender-based violence cases, for example, rape during such moments, that most women, most girls have undergone without their consent. And another gap is girls rarely involved in program designing, which is one of the things that most of us, if you're working in the NGO sector or in the non-state sector or in the social enterprise sector, we know very well we don't engage our beneficiaries to design what they want, when they want. We always address the issues because it has happened. Like currently, we will just go to the areas where the droughts are, but we do not map. We didn't do a baseline survey. We didn't engage the girls. What do you want currently? Because there was a time, I must share this, because back in 2023, we traveled to one of our counties, Marsabit, and we said we are going to support both girls and boys. And we carried boxers, the undergarments for boys, and we carried undergarments for girls and sanitary pads. So when we were distributing to them, the boys said, no, we don't need the boxers. Even the girls, some of them said, I only need one. The 2 extra, you can go back with it and give it to other girls or women. Then we were like, why are you doing this? They're like, we are enough with this one. Our climate here is so harsh. The boys do not even put the undergarments. So if we could have thought of getting them soaps or even toothpaste or even food, since most of them were saying if you could have brought us drinking water, we'll be grateful. But the undergarments are not, and they are not, we do not want them for now. And we went and thought, so next time when we want to engage the community, we need to involve them. We need to involve them in terms of designing. What do you guys always need when such crisis always occurs? Because these areas are prone to drought. And when the drought has ended, that is the best moment for you to engage them. Not just drought and any other crisis that might be happening in your different regions or countries. Let's learn to engage the community, the beneficiaries. We ask them, what do you want most during such moments? What did you need during those days when you were going through drought or even famine? What did you need? And then short-term solutions without sustainability. Most of us will put a call, support this initiative. We are taking food. Yes, people will give you food, but after there, what are you going to do? Sustainability. Are you going to leave the community like that, the beneficiaries like that? Yes, we'll take to them the 3 sanitary pads, the disposable or the reusable. Have you factored in where are they going to get water? Have you factored where are they going to get for the rest of the months? Who are you going to engage to continue supporting them, or for you it was a one-off thing? So when we are thinking of supporting communities, supporting the girls, boys, women, and men in our various communities, let's always think of also long-term solutions. I know short-term is important too, but we should think beyond the support that we are giving them by then. For us to remember, we cannot respond to drought with gender-neutral solutions when the impact is not gender-neutral. I don't know if you have gotten me. We cannot respond to drought with gender-neutral solutions when the impact is not gender-neutral. We should be very gender sensitive and know that different gender has got its own needs. We have two genders. We should know the needs of the two genders that are widely identified. I don't want us to get into the definition of how many genders do we identify, but today I'm recognizing the two genders, and I know because when it comes to the crisis time, we always prioritize that. And what needs to change? Because we all know the solutions, as I said. What needs to change? My proposed solutions from my heart and from the experience that I've worked with the girls and women. We should integrate menstrual health into climate and education responses. This is something that has to be done. We shouldn't be talking about it just as a component, as an addition. And you know what? We need to remember to include menstrual communities. No, it has to be integrated into menstrual health, climate and education responses. We should also invest in sustainable menstrual products and wash facilities. I didn't mention wash facilities because we were talking about the harsh weather that is happening, and now we are pulling away students from schools. No students go to school in such moments, and if they go, they are very less. And we look at WASH, the arboretums in our schools. How are their conditions? Are they friendly to girls and also the boys? Can the girls even wash themselves when they are in school? Can they change their sanitary pads well? That is some of the things that we have a lot of gap when it comes to the wash facilities in our schools and menstrual talks when we talk about menstrual health management. And also we need to promote cross-sector partnerships. We cannot thrive alone. We are change sector. We have the education sector, children's sector. We cannot work on our own. We need to partner. We need to work together. We need to learn from each other and see the gaps. What are the gaps you are having? Because the different sector, if you engage our targets who are girls and women and also the boys and men, they always bring up some of these issues which we do not address them because those are not our areas of expertise. And so what I need to call upon is we need to promote cross-sector partnerships. Let's partner together. Let's work together to solve the social issues that we have. Let's include girls' voices in decision making. It is so sad that there are so many narratives that have been created, so many documents that they say they have the girls' voices, but it's just a representation. Just because they call girls or the youths on board and they signed, and that is it. That is not having the girls' voices and decision making in action. Let's include them. By including them, it's walking the journey with them. Not those who are knowing, the older people, I must say the older, or those who have been there for the longest time, representing the voices of the adolescent girls and adolescent boys, just because they are their parents and their guardians, but not hearing from them. Remember, the current generation have changed. They want to speak for themselves. The generation that they know what they want for themselves. Let's not leave their voices behind. Let's have them. And I need to link the action to the SDGs and emphasizing that there should be holistic impact. It's not just us doing whatever we are doing, but we need to have an impact. At the end of the day, we need to have some changes. We need to have us and all the SDGs marrying to each other. As you saw from the post, how the SDGs, how the topic was related to most of the SDGs that were mentioned in the poster. I hope you are hearing me. I don't like talking alone and nobody's responding. I hope you are listening to me.
Yes, ma'am, we are.
Yes, madam, we are listening.
Thank you very much. I wanted to give us a chance to also give our reflection, what we have learned from what I've been talking, if it is what is happening, or we can also learn and unlearn from each other. Maybe there are some things that you are doing in your various countries that we can adopt as an organization here in Kenya, and also Women Association can also adopt. I'm proposing solutions from what I had prepared. We need to integrate menstrual health into climate and education responses, as I said, and I mentioned, I always love repeating myself. Closing reflection and a call to action. A girl should never have to choose between managing her period and staying in school. That is one of the things that we should not bargain. Let no girl from wherever, from the whole world, the girl should not choose between managing her period and staying in school. It is mandatory for the girl to stay in school. And so it is the duty of the government, it's the duty for me and you in our whatever capacity we are, even the parents and the guardians and everybody. We need to provide for the girl to stay in school so that in the coming years she should not blame us for not supporting her to stay in school. And so we are currently running a campaign in collaboration with Women Association to support 400 girls in northern part of Kenya. Kindly, if you are willing to support us in whatever capacity you can reach us through the information that Women Association will share after our session. We will really appreciate. We don't want to see any girl missing school, and we are not going to leave boys behind. We know the needs of the boys because we have engaged boys, and they need soaps, they need toothpaste to also boost their self-esteem, because we have been told that girls are more active than boys, but now we are trying to incorporate boys in our intervention so that we can move together and so that they can also be part of the ambassadors who will champion menstrual health and not stigmatize girls as we go on. Thank you very much, and I was glad to be your speaker today. Back to you, Kanvi.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your thoughts in a very organized way. And the audience was silent because they were interacting with you through chat. And I would like to address few of the questions and some sharings in between by the participants. So Ms. Musral was sharing that when you have asked for sharing your things, that her country has banned our schools and universities, and the government wants all the girls to marry by the age of 13. And apart from that, which is a sad reality, but I feel very fortunate that the Afghan girls here in this Women Ascension itself, they are doing a lot. A live example is of Ms. Hamina itself and various others members also. Mr. Hamina is telling that problems that we face in Afghanistan is education. Okay. Okay, so the very first question I would like you to address this is by me, that what partnerships and collaborations would be most valuable to scale up this work in these communities? Ma'am, you're muted. Ma'am, can you hear me?
Yes, sorry. What did you say?
Sorry, I guess there was some technical issue. So, I was asking a question that how the collaborators and partnerships can be enforced so that we don't face these kind of challenges. If you can share some insights on that.
Okay, thank you, Kanvi. As I mentioned about collaboration and partnership, we cannot move alone and we need each other to thrive. And so my advice is for us to map out organizations that are like-minded. The different sectors that I've mentioned, education, legal, the children departments in our various countries, gender and whatever name you always refer in your various countries, if it's gender, sexual reproductive and health, the Ministry of Health, we need to be close to them. Even in our smallest areas we are, like here we have the local administration. We need to be close to them. You need to be in technical working groups so that if you're having an issue or something to address, you don't address it as an individual. You want the whole praise to go to you. Yes, Brenda did it, or my body did it, Women Ascension did it, but let it be a collaborative initiative where you call some other organizations, some other youth groups, even your colleagues who joined for you to have a successful engagement, or you want to have something like the pads, the menstrual pad drive. You want to have it, but you don't have support. You cannot work alone. Have a network. Share with the different partners. Share also with the government officials that you are doing this so that they can even recognize you. Don't do it alone. Social media, yes, will recognize you, but we have the authorities that can really even give you recommendation. So let's leverage on that, map out the existing organizations. I know for the youth-led organization, it's so hard for us to engage the organizations that have been there for long because we fear them, but you don't have to fear anybody. You just need to write to them and ask for partnership. No one rejects partnership. The partnership should not be based on funding or money only. Even you sharing expertise, trainings, it's partnership. And that's how relationship starts. And that's how we are going to help that person from who did not have somebody to help them, but had you who knew somebody and will have helped the others who needed your help. I hope I've responded. And if you also have some other insights on that, how partnership and collaboration can be done, you can also share. Colleagues.
Ma'am, You were on point. You explained the answer so nicely, and thank you for that thing. I have another question. How can we ensure that menstrual health remains a priority even after the immediate crisis passes?
Sorry?
How can we ensure that the menstrual health remains a priority even after the immediate crisis passes? Even after the drought resistance, the drought conditions, we usually care
Thank you.
about the when we are in the position. But I also wanted to know that how we can continue the same thing even after the the crisis is over. That is very essential because that keeps the momentum going on.
Thank you, Kanvi. Just as I said, we need to always have contingency plan. So now something can happen. We know the trends of what happens in our various countries. If there is drought, famine, or whatever crisis that comes up, it might be any climate related issue. We need to have a plan. And for menstruation, this is natural. We have always heard it from our birth. Ever since you were born, you have heard of it. So there's no way that our campaign should stop, because we are fighting to that moment whereby it will be normalized, just as how we have normalized. I'm not saying that GBV is good, but GBV has been normalized. Like they take facilitated GBV. Everyone is having their own freedom of right, but abusing each other on social media. Why can't you also normalize the talk on menstrual health management so that our issues as women and girls is addressed once and for all, and our coming generations are going to enjoy, not struggling like us, struggling to get policies in place. Like I've seen Elizabeth Musingafi has shared that she had there are some countries in Africa giving women leave days during their period days. Is this a good idea? We all have our different priorities, and according to our various areas, we know what we need. The different countries I had, is it Namibia or Liberia? Is it Namibia? Even Zambia recently give women leave days, and also our country here in Kenya, one of the counties, that is Nairobi County, women are given leave days during their menstrual days. That is just but a few of the things that are under menstrual health management. We also need, there are some women and there are some institutions which are fighting for, we want free pads, which has not been actualized. We have some countries that are providing free condom. I don't know if my colleagues, some of them are free to talk about the condoms, because safe sex is very important. Here in Kenya, we are being given free condom, but there are no free sanitary pads, meaning that they prioritize the safe sex more than more than dignifying girls' life. And that is something that we are pushing, so that a day will come when the prices of even the sanitary pads will be subsidized. We are buying the pads with high prices. There is no day that the prices has gone down. Why? Because we have nobody there who is fighting for us in the policies, in the parliament. Yet we are electing women to go and represent us there, but they are going with their own priorities, their own agendas. So this topic on menstrual health management will not just be a talk that will stop just after the crisis, but it's something that will continue by being persistent, being consistent, talking about it every time, asking our leaders about it in our spaces, having this Twitter spaces, YouTube conversations, and also sending memorandums to our various leaders. This will help us to continue with the talk, and it will not end if we are all for the benefit of the girl and the woman who always go through such pain when they are going through their menses. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am, you explained it really nice, and you even pointed out the question that it is the menstrual health needs to be prioritized over the sexual safety, right? And there's one candidate from Afghanistan. She's asking, like, what can we really do to make these facilities free at community level and at policy level?
Thank you. Farangis from Afghanistan, thank you for bringing that up. As I mentioned, you need to be working with a team. You need to be in different technical working groups. Nowadays, you cannot work alone. You cannot share information alone on behalf of, let's say, women and girls, but you need to have a team to back you up. You need to have a voice. You need to have network. Like in your sector that you are working in, most of this menstrual health management, it's in the health sector, gender sector. If you have the technical working groups, ensure that you are part of them, so that if you are doing the social accountability in your facilities, let's say facilities is your lowest area, I mean the lowest place where the local person can get. We want our facilities to be free in terms of, I don't know, by free you mean that we need our facilities, let's say the health centers, to be having the sanitary for free, or I don't know what you meant by free. But I presume you meant, let's say, the facilities to be free, no charges, and even the menstrual commodities to be free, which is something that I was mentioning before. We have channels to do that. We have the existing policies. We have well, I know we have the existing policies, we have frameworks, and you can do policy briefs to inform that. You can do even, we currently do accountability in our lowest facilities. You need to go there and check if they are suitable for human beings to be treated there. Are they disability friendly? Do they have the ramps? Are there the medicine? The levels here in Kenya, we have from level 1 to level 5, and we have standards that the government have put in their SOPs. You need to read them through. And through the technical working groups is where you can surrender your report. This is what we did. That is if you don't have the funding. There are some organizations that have funding to do that. And accountability is very important. Do the accountability. And nowadays, the power belongs to the people. If you give a report, this is what is happening, I believe there is no one who will back you down. We have the social media. You can call for us a brief where you report this is what is happening, and you give proofs, you send the photos, and it will be followed up with the government. It is not like before when we did know a lot of things, but let's read. Let's also engage different expertise who have done this before. Let's look at the materials online. Which are the countries that have done this and how did they do it? And in our country, if we want to do it, what do we do? Where do we start? Because it's high time that we now address the main issues. Let's not remain there and cry every time this is not happening, and yet we have the power to change. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Since we are already short of time, so we'll just take last two questions. And it is there's a question by a candidate, Salma. She's asking, how can we balance cultural sensitivity with protection of women's fundamental rights?
How can we balance culture sensitivity with protection of women's fundamental rights? Culture
Yes,
is
ma'am.
one of the things, thank you. Culture is one of the things that is making most of our interventions to lag behind. We must appreciate that culture has its own positive and negative sides. And you as individuals, you know what are some of the cultures that has kept you as a woman or as a man, and you identify yourself with it. Most of the time, culture identifies us. But we have some of the, I had, there was a time we were calling female genital mutilation harmful cultural practices. And we were attacked. Why are you saying that it's harmful? Yet there are so many women who have been cut and they have not died. There are so many women who are in good, who are working in higher government positions. They were done this. It is their culture and we need to respect that. And so we derived to retrogressive, something that is making us to lag behind. You can imagine child marriage. Who at this moment is happy for her child who is 11 years, 10 years, or 12 years to get married to an old man? And you as a woman, you know how painful it is to give birth, how painful it is to have sex. Even this child may not be able to know how to keep herself safe when she's on her menses. That is by washing herself, even putting on the sanitary pads. There are so many things that this child doesn't know. And so just to respond on that, things to do with culture, I just want to embrace that. Let's embrace retrogressive cultural practice that are taking us forward, not taking us behind. If you feel this is wrong, and we all know which cultural practices are wrong, let's check them out. We start by you. If your family members are practicing the child marriage, female genital mutilation, there are so many other cultural practices that I might not know from different areas. You be the ambassador. State, this I'm not going to do because of this and that. This has been done to others and these are the effects. And just to respond on that, how we can balance cultural sensitivity with protection of women's fundamental rights. It's important to study, to learn the cultural practices of the areas we are going to work in. I cannot come into a community and bring the ideology of where I'm coming from. Okay, this is the change I want. I must use the same people in the same community. You need to be the voice of the change, because your people will know this is if you are speaking against it, then it's supposed to be wrong. But for me, if I come into a community, I've just read about it, I don't know how to even sit with the older people, maybe my dressing is not right. Let's study culture of the people we want to go and make change to them. The change should not be harmful to the people. And remember, change is inevitable. It's gradual. It's gradual. It grows. Like, we cannot just wake up today and say we are changing this. Just like how leadership is the leadership arena is changing. We are even electing women in positions that before we were not electing them, but it took us ages. It took us time. And we are learning from even countries that have made to wherever they are. And the learning process is taking long. I believe we have so many women who are now looking for resources to make them to be in the leadership position. The same thing with the changes that we are having. Let's start by changing ourselves first, changing our surroundings, our families, and then when it comes to paperwork, let's be genuine. I want this change for this community, but what are the channels? You need to take, even if it is going to take 100 years, walk the journey with the community. Walk the journey with the girls and women. They will appreciate you. Just as how we are appreciating the feminist women who are there for us before, who were in the Maputo Protocol. You can state what Maputo Protocol stated. And that is what is being ratified in most of the countries. And we are proud of that because it took time, it took sweat, it took sacrifices from our forefathers, the women who are there and they left. So let's leave a mark. We might not clean every issues that we have, but whatever we will have done, I believe we will have saved the world. We will have saved a girl, a woman, a boy, and a man. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Since we are already short of time, so I'll personally share the questions with you. But there is a very important questions, and that would address your last message to the uh, people facing the situation also. That is, what is the most important leadership skill women needs today to face modern challenges like this today in today's world?
Thank you. That is one of the questions, one of the worries that I always have every day. Like today, I woke up in the morning and I'm having questions from my fellow women asking me, what are we going to do about the issues of women empowerment? We feel like it have really gone up to the brim, that we are having women who are not respecting men. We are having women who prefer to have their own families. We are without having men. We are having women who are living recklessly because the laws protect them. Every day we talk about gender-based violence. It's supporting women and girls, but not boys. So it has given women a lot of headache. Like they know they have gotten there. So it is a matter of who you are. Let's not look at any other person, but I always look at myself. Yes, Brenda, I've come from this. I know my steps. This is where I came from, and this is what it took me to where I am. And that's why I always send regards, acknowledgements to my mentor. My mentors have been men, which is something that let's say it's awkward. I don't know. We expect to have young women in this space who have been mentored by other women, but for me, it's different. I've been mentored by two men, and they support me every time. They clap for me. They tell me they don't want to see what their mothers, their sisters went through me. So that is something that always pushes me every day. And if I do something which is contrary to even my values, set your values as women. Be empathetic. Let's not act, most of us act emotionally. Women, we tend to act emotionally. But if you set your values and goals down, and you know this is the right thing for you to do, remember, do to somebody what you expect them to do to you. If you do something bad to me, just know it will come back to you. That is what I know, because life has got no manual. I cannot tell you, as my fellow women, do this is the right thing, but be guided by what is right for you. Especially, there was a quote back then when I was in school, and I don't know if I remember the name. If I remember the name, I'll post in the group because we are all in the WhatsApp group. And it will be, but I remember the statements that our teacher was saying. Do the right thing at the right time when no one is watching you. That is what our teacher used to say. And that was also what has been guiding me. So I can't tell you to do this, but kindly read more. If you feel like you are doing something wrong, remember, doing something wrong is not bad. You do wrong to get to the right thing, but do not do many wrongs to hurt people for you to be seen that you are very powerful. We are learning, and I wish us all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for conveying the answer. I hope the answer is well answered, Miss Salma. So since we are already short of time, I would just like to thank you for sparing your time uh, to convey your shared knowledge, and it was a privilege to have you. So thank you so much, Miss Berenda, for sharing your powerful and deeply insightful perspective with us today. Your presentation on the topic has been truly eye-opening and transformative. We are incredibly grateful for the way you brought lived realities to the forefront of this conversation. Your first hand experiences working with girls and women in the northern drought affected regions of Kenya has painted a vivid picture of the challenge they face, from water scarcity to the lack of menstrual commodities, from school dropouts to harmful cultural practices like female genital mutilation and child marriage. Your emphasis on integrating menstrual health into climate and humanitarian responses rather than treating it as an afterthought is a critical message that resonates deeply. Thank you for reminding us that menstrual dignity is not a soft issue, but directly affects education, protection, and a child's future. We particularly appreciate your practical solution, the call for cross sector partnership, the importance of involving girls in program design, the need for sustainable long term solutions beyond short term